Welcome back to part 6. I'm Maria Davies, giving you public speaking presentations trainings, and if you want some more, just visit www.laddersofsuccess.com and sign up for the free tips there, and they will come regularly into your email box. I'll also let you know whenever I add new video tips as well. Okay, so in the last episode I mentioned to you about using stories rather than just statistics and facts and figures, because people like stories. They relate to stories. Now there are a couple of things with stories though that you need to remember, and one of the things is very, very important, is that you need to make them your own stories. Also, every speaker that I know, professional speaker, has their own signature story. That's a story that is unique to them, that they are remembered by. It's also a story that lots of people who see them speak again and again, and who you would think, well, if you've seen me speak again and again, you would remember those stories, so you wouldn't want to hear the story all over again, but it's the signature story that people always want to hear. They always come up and say, tell that story again about the time you were in, because they remember it and they enjoy it, and even though they know what's coming next, they still like to hear it. So you're going to tell a story and make a point, but do make the story your own. The one thing that is the least professional thing that you can do would be to take somebody else's story that you have heard and pass that story off as your own, because there is bound to be somebody there in the audience who will know that it's not your story, and you will instantly lose credibility. So always make it your own story. And how do you do that? Well, collect stories of things that happen to you. They don't have to be wild and wonderful stories. They just need to be things about everyday life that people can relate to and that you can use to illustrate a point that you're making. If you're talking, for example, about customer service, you might tell a story about some terrible service you've received, or some really good service that you have received, that will illustrate the points for people. Also, use humour in your stories whenever you can, because people like to have a laugh, and people will remember times when you've made them laugh, and they will also respond more to you if you make them laugh. And finally, on the subject of stories and making them your own, people relate to people that they grow to know, to like, and to trust. And if you tell stories that relate to your life, it also helps your audience members get to know you, and they are much more likely then to respond favourably to you if they feel that you're making them laugh, you're telling them stories, and they relate to you and they get to know you and those stories. So that's what I say about stories. More training in part 7.